kids, it's Pastor Matthew here. This is for our Children's Praise video. Glad to be with you this morning as you're in Children's Praise right now with your leaders. And I'm standing in a room that you might recognize. You might have graduated from this room. If it looks familiar, it's because it should be. It's the nursery here at the church. The reason we're in this room today is because of what's painted on the walls. Maybe you remember seeing this, a picture of animals. And if you go over here, you see a picture of a big boat. Do you know what we're going to talk about today? We're going to talk about Noah's Ark. And so that's actually what's painted here. Someone did this many years ago, painted these really beautiful images of the Noah's Ark right here with the animals that are coming out of the ark. You notice they're 2 by 2, and you even have a few monkeys and giraffes. So let's look at this from God's Word. We're going to learn a little bit about the reason there was Noah's Ark and there was a big flood in the world. So I want you to understand this today, and your teachers today, particularly Stephanie Troutman, will be teaching you this from Noah's Ark. It says this in Genesis 7. It was the time in Noah's life when he had finished building the boat. God told him to make a really big boat for all the animals in his family. And it says, the fountains of the great deep burst forth, and the windows of heaven were open, and rain fell on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On the very same day that Noah and his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and Noah's wife, and their 3 wives of his sons with them entered the ark. They and every beast according to its kind, and all the livestock according to its kind, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth according to its kind, and every bird according to its kind, and every winged creature. And they went into the ark with Noah, 2 and 2, of all flesh, in which there was the breath of life. And then it says, as they went in, the Lord shut them in the boat, in the ark. So, you see the image here of these animals 2 by 2. It's a very big boat. One little sliver of it here is on the wall, right? And Noah built this for many years with him and his family. And when the time came, we're told that the heavens opened and the fountains gave out water. So all the springs from below in the soil, that's where we get a lot of water, like where you get your rivers. If you know where your water comes from, your rivers, they come from springs. We also get a lot of water from the clouds and the rain. So what happened is so much water was filling up the whole world that it began to flood. And in that time, that's when everybody got inside the boat. And we're told that God actually shut the door of the boat behind them so that they could all be safe inside the ark, the boat that saved their life. Now I want you to know that that boat was the way you should understand Jesus. That if you get inside Jesus, that is, if you believe in him, then you're inside the boat and you're safe. You have life with Jesus. So we'll keep reading a little bit more so I can explain the story to you. And we'll walk through the pictures on the wall so you can understand what this all means, particularly at the end with that rainbow. So here's the next step we're going to read is this warning that God says after he had done what he did. And lots of animals and everything that had breath in it, we're told, that died. Everything that was in that boat did not die. Everything outside of that boat did die. And it says this, then Noah built an altar after he got out of the boat on the dry land. He built an altar to the Lord and took some of every clean animal and some of every clean bird and offered a burnt offering on the altar. And when the Lord smelled the aroma, the Lord said in his heart, I will never again curse the ground because of man. For the intentions of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I ever again strike down every living creature as I have done. While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night shall not cease. Okay, now let's explain that. So Noah got out of the boat. He was still alive, his family was still alive, and all the animals with him were still alive. And what he did is he made an altar and praised God. He worshipped God. And God smelt the sacrifice on that altar, the fire that went up. You ever smell fire in your nose? It's a distinct kind of smell. It kind of brings back a lot of memories, maybe. Well, God smelt that, and what he said is, I will never again destroy the whole world because of man's sin. And I will never kill all the animals because of man's sin. He says, because the intent of his heart is always evil, continually. So, I want you to know now what that means. You and I have problems we call sin. We do bad things. So if you ever know you do something bad, or you feel bad about disobeying your parents, or you feel guilty for something, that's what's called sin, right? And we do that inside our hearts. And the point that God said at the end of the story is that there's no way to fix that with water. Water can't fix that. So you can't clean yourself up on the outside and be clean on the inside. Something has to clean you on the inside. So God could flood the whole world with water, and it still wouldn't make the world clean. Because as long as we're in the world with our hearts, because in our hearts and in our minds we think and desire evil things, that's what makes the world unclean. And water can't fix that. So, what we're told at the very end, as we see all the animals, imagine they're getting out of the boat now. They're all leaving the boat. And they're all walking out. There's a snake down there. We have some camels and zebras and elephants, right? And look, there's actually 2 elephants right here, but one's behind the window maybe. There's a monkey. We have some sheep down here, some giraffes. Then you come the whole way over. I want you to see this especially. This is really important. So you have a lion. But look what's above the lion. Does anybody know what that is? That is a rainbow. And God said this, he said, when I bring clouds over the earth, and the bow is seen in the clouds, I will remember my covenant that is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh, and the water shall never again become a flood to destroy all flesh. When the bow is in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature. So, when you see that rainbow, and sometime later, maybe tomorrow or many days later in your life, you're going to see another rainbow. You see rainbows every once in a while. When the sun is hitting the water as it comes down, there's lots of colors, a hue of colors that appear in the sky. And that's a reminder. God said that's a reminder that he's never going to flood the whole world again because water can't fix the problem. And the rainbow is like a bow that points up to the sky. So it shows that God's arrows aren't facing down at us, but facing upward. And you have to remember, what's going to happen is that God's actually going to pierce himself, because blood's the only thing that takes away our sin. Water can't take away our sin. And that's why it's all about Jesus. Because God provides a way for us to be safe in him, kind of like the ark. But even the ark really didn't solve the problem. It just postponed the problem. Because the ark only saved them a little bit from their life, but it didn't get rid of their sin. Man's heart was only evil continually, we're told. So it was the need for blood, not water. So Miss Stephanie is going to teach you that more, and I want you to learn it and talk about it and understand what the boat means. I want you next time you're in this room to think about these images and remember, particularly as we end, remember that rainbow and what it means. I want you to understand. If someone to ask you, if your teacher to ask you today after this, what does the rainbow mean? I want you to have a really good answer so you know. Okay, I'll see you again next time.